episode, we talked about when our kids are diagnosed and what that meant for us and what that felt like. And today we're going to talk more about how our identity shifted after that diagnosis. You know, there's a before and an after for us just as much as it is for them. Like, what do you think, Melissa? What are some things that have kind of changed and you feel like maybe you're different now that you have a child with special needs?
I think for me, probably one of the biggest changes that I've seen is my socialization. Even from early on when I was little, my family would get on me for talking too much. Like, I was always in trouble for being a big mouth talking. And I have a large family. And one of the things I always have enjoyed my whole life was going and just visiting my friends, my family at their homes, just kind of sitting around for hours talking about nothing but talking about everything. And that's definitely something that I've not been able to do for many years now, because I just can't go to someone's house and visit them anymore, because I don't have the comforts for my son at their house. Even if they try to accommodate us the best they could, he just would not be happy there.
And you're kind of having to feel like on, you know, and like trying to manage behaviors and all of that. So you're probably not relaxed and comfortable.
Yes.
Because of, you know.
That's all you can think about.
That's all you can think
is
about.
meeting his needs and not trying to, like, have an issue. I don't even know if you want to call it an issue, but, like, disturb anybody.
Yes. Well, in my family, we all have to do everything now at my house because that's where Noah's the most comfortable. But they all know if we're in the kitchen, you might get 3 words out of me, and I'll be like, hold that thought. I'll be right back. You know, don't, because, I mean, that's the hardest part. Is like you want to be there for your family and friends, but you just sometimes can't, no matter how hard you want to. So you always have that in the back of your mind of, am I a good friend? Am I a good daughter? You know, am I a good, you know, sister? You know, those kind of things. Am I a good wife? So those are the kind of struggles I feel like you always have. And those are things I never worried about before, because I feel like I invested all my time to my friends, family. We would even have sleepovers at each other's house as adults.
Yeah.
But those are things that I feel, you know, like I can't do anymore, and I feel like I short them.
I feel that too, like as far as like my capacity to feel like I'm a good friend is very little. You know, basically if you need me a lot, we're probably not going to be good friends. I'm the needy one. I'm the one that has like a lot going on in my life, and it's like, girl, if you got a lot of problems, you know, go find somebody else.
Yeah.
Just don't have the just a capacity to take anything else, to take on anything else.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, emotional, all of it, all of the above.
Yeah.
It makes you forget a lot too.
Yes.
You know, just like your memory is just so short. Somebody
Very
can tell
short
you,
term.
like they can tell you all these things that are going on in their life, and in that moment you're there with them and you're listening, but then you walk away and it's gone.
Yeah.
And you don't check in and you don't remember.
I would just do like stuff that I normally wouldn't do because I was so consumed with my thoughts about what was going on. I probably have backed into my mother's car 3 times just because I'm like thinking I got to get here and I got to get back, and because I don't want him to have to stay here too long because he needs this, that, and the other, and so I'm just wrecking cars. And stuff.
Do you have good insurance?
Yes. Luckily, she didn't turn me in.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like your identity as far as, you know, who you were before, which we've talked about the last episode. I mean, I was just 17 when I had Riker, but I did have dreams of who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do with my life, and all of that changes.
Yeah.
And sometimes for the better and sometimes not so much, but, you know, it does change and you're just on a completely different path. But one thing that I never, I guess, expected, probably you guys hadn't either, is that we had to be so strong and that we had to be so resilient. And so people look at us and they say, oh, she is like a super mom, or, you know, she's so strong, or I don't know how she does it. You know, those types of things. And it becomes like who you are, that you are a special needs mom and you are all these things. And, you know, the truth is you never wanted to be. You never wanted to be.
No, you just didn't. I mean, I always think, well, I didn't know how to choice.
Yeah.
And I'm always, and I know you girls are too, I'm proud and happy to do it.
Sure.
We love those babies more than anything, but you don't pick a harder path, a more difficult path. It happened, and you do
Rise
as
to
fa-
the-
yeah, you rise to the occasion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just have to do what you do, and but it does help you to be strong and resilient in all things, in a lot of
You
things.
develop a thick skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You really do. And I think we talked about in the last episode how I felt, and you guys did too, feel defensive, and but that evolves into just like, if you don't like it, you know, we've got just as much right to be here as you do, and you're more than welcome to leave.
Yeah. We did talk about that, and like I remember when Riker was younger, and we would be at a restaurant or at Walmart or wherever, and he's melting down, and I'm embarrassed, and I'm like, you know, apologizing. Maybe we talked about that, you know, and now I'm just like, yeah. I mean, this is his world too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't bother you, but that's something. I mean, all of our kids are older, and we've had to kind of go through those growing pains.
Yeah.
But you know, if you actually look back at that, how many people really had a problem?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
a lot of it was
us
just
learning, I think. And
Yeah, we just kind of
It's
maybe
us.
assumed like
Yes,
that people were
yeah.
going to have an issue with our kid melting down, but really, I mean, I don't think very often I've
maybe
ever
because we
felt-
were already so anxious and like overwhelmed
and on the defense
that we
Yeah.
had this perception that a whole lot more people than actually were bothered, quote unquote, bothered by the behavior.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I think I just stopped doing that just a few years ago. And a lot of it was conversations you and I had, like when we were at events, and I would say, you know, well, what if this happens, and, you know, Noah disrupts this, or he's unhappy, or has, you know, this happen, and you're like,
girl, it's
what
for
if
Noah.
he does?
It
You
doesn't
said,
matter.
What if he does? You know, it's okay. You said,
Yeah.
this is for him too. And so, and that was, you know, something I need, because I still was on guard and still worried, you know, about what that would look like for other people. And sometimes you just had to focus on what's it look like for me today.
Yeah, that's true. And to be kind of unapologetic about that, it's not really being selfish. It's just saying he has every right to be and act however he's going to in this setting, and we'll deal with it the best that we can.
Yeah.
And just not let the anxiety of the what ifs enter into the conversation
Yeah.
too. You know? But yeah, I mean, even what you were talking about, like with family too, I want to spend time with my family, and I want to do different things with my family, but I'm always thinking ahead, like, where are we going? Is it accessible? You know, is this going to cause a problem? Or how long are we going to be able to stay? Are we going to have to leave early? I better take my own vehicle.
Yes.
Oh,
You know?
man, the take your own vehicle thing
yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
It really is.
So you find yourself like almost like combating a hypothetical future constantly.
But even
know?
like those little things like taking your own vehicle, that shows the isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even in your marriage or your relationship, and that person might want to stay longer, and you try to be respectful to them, but it's like, I'm going to take my own car, you know, in case we need to go if you're getting tired. And at this point in my life, maybe I'm the one that's getting tired and ready to go, but because I think I lost some of my socialness, like you guys are saying, because it's just more comfortable to not sometimes than to go out and do something. Zachary's gotten a whole lot better, and I can take him anywhere, and he's happy as he can be, but it certainly wasn't always that way. But I think if we hadn't gone out and done the things we did, even though it was very difficult, that he wouldn't be so able to do the social things that he does now. Because I think he wanted that
grow too.
social.
Yeah,
yes,
they do.
exactly.
They grow too. Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember Riker at ball games, and when he was younger, he couldn't stand like the sound of a buzzer, like at a basketball game. And now it doesn't bother him. But if he would have never been exposed to that, but it's also hard to put yourself in those situations when you know that they're going to melt down, or you know they're going to have a hard time, and dealing with all the eyes
And you
on
don't want it for you or them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the eyes we talked about privately. We've talked about like pity. You know, like we
Yes.
don't want those eyes of pity on us
That's
either.
definitely, that's the last thing in the world that any of us want.
Yeah. Have you ever had somebody look at you and say, I don't know how you do it?
Oh, many times.
Oh, yeah.
How did that make you feel when they say that? I have my own opinion on that.
I mean, I think it depends on the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some days I'm like, I don't either, you know, or some days, you know, could be faith or, you know, this and that that's got you through. But then other days you might just get mad. Like you might be like, I didn't ask for this. Like, so, you know, I am getting by, but it's not by choice some days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. I think like for me, when I hear that, and I know that it's like, it's not out of a bad place.
No.
Nobody's
No,
saying that out of
no.
a bad place. But for me, it's like somebody will look at my life and say, oh, I don't know how you do that. I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And so that kind of stings a little bit.
And you didn't want to either.
I
I'm
didn't
sure.
want to either. You know? No. I mean, and we all know how much we love our boys, you know, and how much we're proud that we're able to raise awareness and do and create, and they have become our passion in so many ways. But I would not wish the life of a special needs parent on somebody.
Yeah.
I know, and we know the pain and the lifelong pain that causes, and the heaviness, and yeah, I mean, so obviously there's beautiful and wonderful things that come out of it, but you can't just turn off the fact that there is a hard side to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it changes us.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, and I think for me, I've looked at that kind of like, you think about that a lot, about like, what would I have done if I didn't have this?
Yeah.
Or what are some great things, because there's some good changes that come along with it too. So I look at those kind of things, and it's kind of a balancing act. I mean, I think there's hard changes that may have made you a different person, maybe not for the good sometimes, but then I see other things that it has helped me with, some like just even compassion.
Yeah.
And then the social part that we were talking about, you know, like I said, I could sit with my family and talk for hours about nothing, but did I value that at the time when I was living
that's a
in
good
it?
point.
Yeah.
But right now, every second I have with a friend, whether it's a lunch date or a coffee date, or, you know, just, you know, going somewhere with my husband, I mean, those are truly valuable to me because I know they don't always come often, or they might be shorter, but they're just as more valuable now,
Yeah.
you know, to
That's
me.
a really good point. That's a really good point.
I think that's part of the blessing in it, is that the little things become the big things.
Yeah.
For us and them, because, you know, a kid pointing and maybe uttering a sound to go with it, you know, you kind of expect that when you have a typically developing child, but like when your kid has no words and they don't seem to, you know, connect in the world the way other kids do, and they do something like that, and they might be 10 by the time they do that, or whatever age your kid develops at, and that's huge for a 10-year-old, and it's exciting. And you know, Zach has gotten to the point where he has enough language to keep the inventory in my kitchen, so he tells me when we're out of pizza and when we're out of pop. So that's, I'm like, you know, that's
good.
helpful
Yeah,
though.
that is good.
So it's a little thing, and he's 20, but it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing, and there's 100 million of those, you know, all the time that you can just look at and be grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments like that. And, you know, my grandma said to me when Riker turned 20, I had like a really hard day that day. And he said, you know, because of Riker's pain and because of everything that he has been through, and because you stepped up and answered the call, all the kids that come after him will live a better life.
Yeah.
And like that just hit me, and I have said that like so many times and reminded myself that so many times since. And that's really all of us in this situation too. You know, there are always going to be children being born with special needs, or, you know, having traumatic things happen that cause a disability.
Yeah.
And because of what our kids have gone through, and because we're saying, hey, we're going to take on that identity change. You know, we're going to be strong women. We're going to be, you know, change makers. Then we're also helping, because of our children, we're also helping all of these people that come after our kids.
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful, and that helps us to kind of like maybe own that identity a little bit, you know?
When I think of even you, like all the things, like as being a special education teacher.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had planned that before you had Zach.
No.
But now look at all the kids that you're able to touch and help, and the families that you're able to be a light for, because you've lived that
definitely
same
helps,
stuff.
gives you a good look into what that family or that child must be dealing with, and the little quirks they have that may stand out to other people. That's just our norm, and I personally enjoy it. Like I like that quirky nature, and I enjoy the kids so much, and I just feel like because of Zach I get them, and that's a nice feeling.
Well, and the parents
honestly.
have you too.
Yeah.
You know, and they know that has to help that relationship, bridging that
Oh,
gap
yeah.
between home and school.
Yeah.
That you've been there, that you are there,
Yeah.
and you can help them navigate some of this.
Oh, absolutely. I think that we were talking about who we were before. I was 26 when I had him, and I knew the thing I wanted most in the world was be a mom. But I really don't think that I had a strong sense of identity then. And then my identity became him, and I think we had talked about earlier. It's like a forced passion.
Yeah.
It became a passion as time went on. I mean, of course, there's your survival period, but as time goes on, you're thinking, well, there's a lot of things that I could maybe share with somebody that's just starting on this journey, or in the middle of the journey, or past some leg of this race that I've already been through. And that, it just starts kind of getting your mind going to, like, how can we help them not struggle so hard?
Yeah.
Because, it is hard. And
Well, we've
if they
just
can
found
keep
each
some of
other.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
We've just found
Yeah.
each other within the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of us have been struggling with this on our own for so long. And it's not that we haven't had support, like, from our family or from friends, but it's just different, now that we have each other, that you're actually living the life and you get it.
Yeah.
And so that's extremely important to have, and we're able to try to help provide that for other people.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely never any issue if we need to cancel or reschedule
You're
any
right.
type of
Right.
get together,
Yeah.
because we're like, there's just like, okay, well, let's see what this day works. What about
Yeah.
this day? And
Yeah.
That's a
move
part
on.
of our
Nobody's
identity.
ever
Yes.
offended.
No,
Yeah.
that's a
We're
part of
not
our
offended.
identity too. We're extremely flexible
Flexible.
people.
And we're not dependable.
We're not dependable.
Don't depend on me
You
to bring
know-
something to the potluck.
Yeah,
It might
I'll
not
bring
happen.
pop, like, maybe.
Yeah,
That's
I'll-
really because I'm not a good
The
cook.
napkins, the cups.
Yeah,
I
things
got
I can
you.
buy way in advance and
Mhm.
store in my car,
Yeah.
like, that will work.
If it's not in the car, it will not make it. It
No.
won't make it.
Yeah, but, like, when we think about that, and I think that's the hardest part that I've had with the identity shift, is just feeling like I'm not a good friend. I'm not as good of a friend as what people are to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even as good at your job.
Yeah.
I've had that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Feeling
too.
guilty because I can't stay for extra trainings that I would like to. I mean, sure, you get to make a little extra money and you get to learn something that could help you in your job, and you do it when you can, but there's a lot of guilt
Yeah.
when you can't do certain things.
Well, it's not like
And it's not like
childcare.
not
Yeah.
necessarily that it's put on you, but you feel it.
Right, you
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
it, and you want to do good at your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, childcare is not. I mean, what is it? After 12 is when the after-school programs stop. Like, like
Mhm.
I don't know what they're called. It's not like childcare, but whatever. But yeah, like, after that, then it's on you to figure that out and rely on family and flexible schedule,
Yeah.
or whatever you can do to just stay employed
Yeah.
and maintain your job, and that's forever.
I've seen
Yes.
so many things on, like, I guess Facebook or Reels or whatever, or YouTube, and it's parents, especially of younger children with disabilities, like, just getting fired all
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
because they've got an IEP meeting. They've got the kids' school is calling because their behavior's out of control. Just whatever, the sky's the limit on reasons they might get interrupted at work, but they can't keep a job.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I took a day off work that was for me.
Oh,
Right.
right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's always for an appointment or
Mhm.
something related to
Mhm.
him,
Yeah.
And then I have 3 kids, so they've got stuff going on too. Thankfully, not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot too. So yeah, it makes it really
Yeah.
hard to just.
And I think
Do your
for all
best.
3 of us, we all work at large companies. And I think that is,
Mhm.
some of the worry you have too is like, are they going to think that I'm less than my coworkers?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because maybe I have to take off for this medical appointment or this
Yeah.
surgery. And I'm very, very thankful because I've never, had to feel that at my company because they've never done that, but I
Yeah.
felt it myself.
That's
Word.
They've
that's
always
exactly
been
what
so supportive.
Yeah, it's not that, and honestly, I've had principals that have just really had my back, and
Yeah.
I do appreciate, and other teachers, like, if you can't get in to get your lesson plans done, they're like, I got you.
Yeah.
And man, I'm thankful for those
absolutely.
people.
Yeah, you're thankful,
Absolutely.
but you still feel guilty.
You do,
Because
yeah.
you're like, what if in the back they're just being nice to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe they
Or
think I'm not
pitying
as
you,
good as
and
that
you worry
coworker.
about that part.
Yes.
The pity. Or like even in your job or in your career, wanting to grow or like getting a higher position or expand, and like you want to reach your potential, but you can't because of the time that it would take, or all these things that we just talked about. Like, I'm not going to be able to find care, so I can't go after this promotion, or I can't go after this new job.
Or maybe you just, like you said earlier, you don't have the capacity to do
Don't have the
anything
capacity.
else.
Yeah.
So,
But also not wanting to be totally defined by being a mom to a special needs child. Like you want to have all these other things that make you you, but it seems like sometimes that's the part that wins and is the biggest.
Oh, and I remember even when I went into special education as an attorney, you would not believe all the looks I would get. Oh, you just do special education? That's it. And to me, that was huge, and that was really important, and that was a passion, but it was also a survival that I needed to learn. I didn't choose to learn special education as an attorney, but that's what I needed to do.
You knew it would be a tool to help your son, too.
Yeah, but there was so many attorneys that kind of, were like, you just do special, like it's almost down, just, a little bit. So.
But you needed that
I needed
for
that
yourself.
for myself.
And same thing with me. Like, I mean, when I was in high school, I wanted to go into law enforcement. And that was I wanted to be in the FBI, like Miss Congeniality, like, yes. But, then I have Riker and all the needs that he has, and I switched over into education, and I wanted to know, like, whatever he was going through in school, I wanted to understand it. And so I've kind of followed him all throughout his life, and my jobs have kind of lined up with where he's been.
And their schedules.
And their schedules, and that's really important.
It is
So
very
we do
important.
shift, like our dreams shift, and everything kind of changes, but in a lot of ways, in such good ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I love, like...
I think they teach us so much.
They do.
And it's stuff that is, like, to the core that you need to know. That's, like, you find out really quickly what's important, who's got your back, who are your real friends, and what kind of people they are.
Yeah.
It's just, it peels back the layers. And even how your child reacts to them. Like any person, it can tell you a lot. They're like little good people detectors, or maybe bad people detectors. I don't know, but I think their hearts are so pure, they can give you a lot of insight into stuff that we wouldn't see.
Well, and the things that we have learned over the years, like how much we've grown, like we talked about when we're younger moms of children with special needs, we were offended maybe a little easier. We were ready to fight, over everything, or maybe we thought that people were judging us or out to get us when they really weren't. All of those things we had to kind of grow through and find out differently. And now, all of us are in the Special Needs Collaborative, and our big part of our culture in that is that we're all on the same side. And we're trying to teach other people how to collaborate and how to really approach problems different than they have been in the past.
Yeah.
And we all know what it's like to be both ways. We know when it's like us against the school system, or like a parent against another organization, versus like, hey, let's sit down on the table. We can talk about this together. Like we can let go of that part of the identity that changed in us too. Like maybe where we're a fighter, maybe that was part of our identity before. Like we're ready to fight and we're ready to go. Maybe now it's more of like, we're ready to advocate.
Yeah.
We're ready to, have good conversations, productive conversations.
Thank goodness. Because that fighting wears you out. I mean,
it's quite the evolution.
Yeah.
Like,
and
absolutely. It's not fast.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
it's
embarrassed, y'all, of some of the things that I've...
Me too.
Young mom. Whew.
Yeah.
Glad there wasn't, like, people weren't videoing back then.
Me too.
I had some moments.
Me too. I didn't know what was going on.
No. But you're just trying to be the best mom that you can be.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you just feel like you're floundering. You don't know. I know with Zachary, when he was, he struggled really hard in elementary school with, the behaviors. And I did have to fight. But you don't always have to fight.
Right.
And that's another thing that you have to learn.
There are times, but most of the time, it's a good conversation.
Yeah.
I agree.
So if someone is listening right now that maybe they don't have a child with special needs, and they're hearing this podcast or this episode about how our identity shifts and about our capacity as a friend or a family member, what would you want them to maybe take away from this?
I think for me is that sometimes what it may not be personal, that, I'm giving what I can. So I guess be patient with your friends. That I guess that old saying says you don't always know what somebody's going through, so be kind.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of it for me is that, and I hope that I remember that myself because I sometimes am guilty of that. As I'm saying, they're short with me. Maybe, they don't want to talk or maybe they don't want to be around me with my situation. But I need to be a little more, patient with them as well as, I hope they are for me.
I need to be more patient too. Sometimes I feel like compassion fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm dealing with so much with him, and people have no idea what we've went through just by the time I get to work that day. I'm not very much on social media as far as like this is what's happening in the behind the scenes. I'm pretty private with that side of things, but I tend to maybe not give so much grace to other people because I'm like, you couldn't possibly have had a morning like me.
Yeah.
So I guess like the reverse part of that question is I hope that I can have more compassion towards people and more understanding.
Yeah. I think that during part of that evolution, as you might call it, I just was I didn't have any room left emotionally or mentally to like be patient with anybody. And I would just snap, just be snippy with people. And in the summer when I was out of school, people would think that's a different Teresa, but I wasn't working a full-time job and caretaking. So some of the pressure was off, but I'm pretty sure I was just like rah, 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 but it's just like you were saying earlier, we just don't have the capacity sometimes. So maybe this too shall pass is what I'm trying to say. You'll come out on the other end. Yes, it will still be difficult and your life's going to be completely different looking, but the hard stuff's not all the time. And I think that would be what I'm saying. This too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Like you said, there's a lot of beautiful things that come out of it too. Absolutely.
There are. I'm happy with who I am now as a result of what I've been through.
Me too.
And I mean, not perfect, obviously, but also like we're going to continue to grow. Right now, we're all in this phase.
We have no idea what's ahead. We just know what we've
just been through. And look at how much we've grown. If we stepped back and looked at that and all of these different phases of our lives that we've been through already, I can't imagine where we'll be in several years from now. And I think as long as we stay focused on growth and self-reflecting, I think that's really important too, and to just help guide other people through this. But I think capacity is probably the winning theme in this identity episode here today. But we don't always have that capacity, but it's not for lack of love.
But now we have that community.
We have a community.
So thank God for that. That's not just us. I mean, it's really growing in our area. So take advantage of it. Is what I say.
Take advantage of it and find your people.
Find
your people, and like the more that you can get out of that isolation and connect with somebody else, there's real power in that. Just to feel seen and understood. Yeah. But I think that's all for today.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't end that very well. I don't know.